Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Nandi. Welcome to my YouTube channel Ecstasy of Physics. In this video, we are going to talk about the kinematics free response questions what we have got in the previous year AP Physics 1 papers. So it's the question we have got. This is in the year 2006. It's given that here we can see a diagram. There is a steel plate and there is a steel sphere also, and there is a recording plate, and the distance is given as d. A student wishing to determine experimentally the accelerations g due to the gravity has an apparatus that holds a small steel sphere above a recording plate as shown in the above. When the sphere is released, a timer automatically begins according the time of fall. The timer automatically stops when the sphere strikes the recording plate. So the conclusion of this section is, whenever the sphere is detached from this section, the timer begins, and when it is in contact with the recording plate, timer is getting stopped. So basically the duration of falling this object is getting measured from here. Now the students measures the time of fall for different values of the distance d shown above and records the data in the table below. The data plots are also plotted on the data points are also plotted on the graph. Now the distance of fall is given as 0.1, 0.51. That means the different distances are taken, and corresponding to that the time of fall, that is a 0.14, 0.32. So different times are given. Now in the first one, A, on grid above, sketch the smooth curve that best represents the student's data. They have given already the points here. These marks are representing the points here. These are the points. So only what we have to suggest that sketch the smooth curve. So first of all, that will be started from 0. Distance of fall 0.1 and the time of fall 0.14. So these points we have to connect, and we know that it is from the equation of kinematics is initial velocity vi that we can consider as 0, and from the equation of kinematics that we can say that s equal to initial velocity into time t plus half into acceleration into t square. Now the distance travel here, vertical distance travel, that is equal to d. Initial velocity, it is 0 since it is just dropped from the upper plate, half into acceleration into t square. That means we can plot the d along the y axis and t. So it's a parabolic graph we have got, and the relations also we have got that d is proportional to t square. It's a parabolic equation. It's a parabolic equation. Since we have got the parabolic equation, that means the first graph is plotted. It's directly the data, that is 0.14, 0.32 directly corresponding to the data. But the second graph we have to plot such a way so that we'll be getting a linear relationship in between d and t. So in that case, you can plot the d along the y-axis and the t square along the x-axis. Now let's plot that data. So to make the linearized graph in between the d and t, we can plot the d along the y-axis and t square along the x-axis. Now we have segregated we have just defined the time scale here. T square means time scale here and the d scale here. Now we have to plot the data corresponding to t square, that is 0.0196. So let's consider 0.2 will be having the distance of all 0.1. So 0.1, that would be around this point. This is the first point. Now 0.102, that is 0.5. 0.102, 0.5. It will be around this point. 1, 0.211, and that would be giving 1 almost. So it was at this point, and 0.348, that is 1.7. 0.348, so we can consider 0.35 and 1.7. So 1.567, it will be around this point, and 2, and that is 0.396. 0.396, it will be around 0.4, that would be 2. Now we can easily draw a straight line passing through the point. So the graph, it has been converted into the linear form. Now we can measure the gradient of this section. We can measure the gradient of this section. So on the grid below, plot the data points for the quantities you have identified in part B and sketch the best fit line. So this one is representing the best fit line, best straight line fit for the points, and label your axis. Show the scale that you have chosen for the graph. So already we have plotted that D along the y-axis and t square along the x-axis. Now the part D, using the slope of your gradient and calculate the accelerations d due to the gravity in this experiment. So first we have to determine the slope of this section, and let's analyze the equations what we have got earlier, that is d equal to half a t square. We got this equation d equal to half a t square. We plotted d along the y-axis and t square along the x-axis. That means half a, that's basically representing that slope here. So whatever the slope will be getting from here, that slope is going to represent the half into a. Now let's compute the slope from this section. Let's figure out 2 points which is known to us. Let's consider one point is located here and one point is located here, or you can consider like any of the 2 points from here. So let's consider any of the 2 points here, that is delta y upon delta x, that would be equal to, along the y, that is 2 minus it will be, let's say 1, and that would be 0.396. so 0.396 negative 0.211, so let's say 0.2. If you take the difference, we will be getting as, so we are getting the slope that is 5.1 approximately. Now this slope, that will be equivalent to that half of a that we have got from these expressions. Now from here, if we compute that a value, that would be giving 10.2 meter per second square, and theoretically we have the accelerations, that is 9.8 meter per second square, but we have 10.2 by our theoretical calculation. So it will be, if the best fit line, it will be too much perfect, then we'll be getting nearby value of 9.8. Now in the last part D, E, state one way in which the student could improve the accuracy of the results if the experiment were to be performed again, and explain why would improve the accuracy. So generally the student accuracy, it can be increased by taking the more number of readings. If the student can measure the more number of readings or more number of data, then the automatically that errors, it can be reduced, means the personal error or the random error, that can be reduced. So that can be going to reduce the human error or the random error by considering the more number of readings. So these questions we have got in 2005. The vertical positions of an elevator as a functions of time is shown above, where the y-axis is representing the vertical position and x-axis is representing the time. Now in the first question, A, on the grid below, graph the velocity of the accelerations as a functions of time. So just look at the section. In between 0 to 10 seconds, its vertical position is getting changed, and in between 10 to almost 18 seconds, there is no change in position, and in between then 18 to like 25 seconds, again it changes its position. We have to define the velocity time graph. We have to define the what would be the velocity. Now from the position time graph, to define the velocity, we have to find out the slope or the gradient. Slope or gradient. The slope or the gradient of this position time graph, that's basically going to represent the velocity. So v equal to, if the position is represented by s and the time is represented by t, so it's basically representing the delta s upon delta t. From here, in between 0 to 10 seconds, first we have to compute that what is the slope. So when the time t equal to 0 to 10 seconds, the slope, that is velocity, is represented by, it would be change in the value of y, that is 14 minus 0, change in the value of x, that is 10 minus 0, which means it's 1.4 meter per second. And in between 10 to 18 seconds, the velocity, it would be 0 because there is no change in the value of y in this part. And again from 18 to 25 seconds, from 18 to 25 seconds, the change in the velocity, that would be 0 minus 14, and that divided by the change in time is 25 negative 18. If we do this calculation, negative 2 meter per second. Now if we want to plot the graph, so in between 0 to 10 seconds, it would be having the positive 1.4. So positive 1.4, that would be below slightly 1.5, around this line. And in between 10 to 18 seconds, that would be 0. And in between 18 to 25 seconds, that is negative 2. 18 to 25 seconds, it will be negative 2. And slight portions, it is curved at this section, so that's why we are also making a curve at this point. Now in the part 1, calculate the average accelerations for the time period t equal to 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Average accelerations in between the time period 8 seconds to 10 seconds. To find out the average acceleration, we can determine. So to define the average accelerations, we can get that change in velocity by change in time. Now the change in velocity is at 8 seconds, it would be having the velocity, that is 1.4, and at 0 second it is having the velocity, that is 0. So final velocity 0, and at 10 seconds its velocity is 0 here. So it would be 0 minus 1.4 upon the change in time, that is 10 minus 8. So from there we are getting, that is 1.4, negative 1.4 by 2, that is negative 0.7 meter per second square. So it's basically representing the deceleration. So it is the B, part 1. Now in the second part 2, on the box below represents the elevator, draw a vector to represent the directions of this average acceleration. Initially it's given that elevator is moving in the upward directions, right? Since its motions from 8 to 10 seconds, its displacement is increasing. From 12 to 14, it is moving in the upward directions, but the accelerations, it is negative, which means the accelerations, it would be opposite of its displacement. Since it's moving in the upward, the acceleration, it would be downward. So it's downward directions average acceleration, you can say. It's a downward. These questions we have got in the year 2002. A model rocket is launched vertically with an engine that is ignited at time t equal to 0 as shown above. The engine provides an upward acceleration of 30 meter per second for 2 seconds. Means from initially t equal to 0 to t equal to 2 seconds, it will be having the upward acceleration, that is 30 meter per second square up to this point. After that, for 2 seconds, upon reaching the maximum height, so here it is given that maximum height, after reaching that maximum height, the rocket deploys a parachute and then descends vertically to the ground. So again from here the vertically to the ground, at this point it is going up. Now what we have to determine the speed of the rocket after 2 seconds firing the engine. So at this point we have to determine that what is the speed of the rocket. So here we can use to determine the first part, that final velocity that is equal to the initial velocity plus acceleration into time. Now let's check that. It has been mentioned that the model rocket is launched vertically. Launched means that initial velocity it should be 0. From here suddenly, from here slowly it got accelerated, and the acceleration is given as 30 meter per second square. So its initial velocity is 0, 30 meter per second square is the accelerations, and the time period it has traveled, that is equal to 2. So it's 2. So from there we are getting the final speed after 2 seconds, that is equal to 60 meter per second. That's the thing they are asking in the first part A. Now in the part B, what maximum height will the rocket reach? Final velocity at the after 2 seconds, that is equal to, we have already computed, and we have considered this is the maximum height. H max is representing the maximum height, and at the maximum height definitely the vertical speed of the rocket it should be 0. So from here we can use that once the engine is shuts down at t equal to 2 seconds, that means no accelerations provided by the engine on the rocket anymore. There would be the accelerations in between this after 2 seconds to the maximum height. There would be only acceleration exerted, the same as the gravitational accelerations along the downward direction. Now we can apply the equation of kinematics, that the final velocity square, that would be here v prime. So final velocity square, that is equal to the initial velocity square. After 2 seconds, what is the velocity? That becomes the initial velocity at this point. Initial velocity square plus twice into acceleration into displacement. So what should be the displacement? Let's consider this height is small h. That means the total height it has traveled in this period, that is h max minus small h. We know that vertical final speed is 0. That initial speed, that should be same as the what is the final speed after 2 seconds, that becomes the initial speed here. So it's 60 square plus twice into acceleration, that is same as the downward acceleration, so it is negative. We can consider it's negative 9.8 meter per second square, times by h max minus h. So from there we can easily determine that what is the value of the h max minus h. So it would be equal to 60 square upon 2 into 9.8 meter per second square. If we calculate that, we are getting 183.67 meter. But we have to find out the maximum height with respect to the ground, which means we have to compute here how much the distance it got traveled in between 0 to 2 seconds. Now to compute that distance, we can use that equation of kinematics, that h equal to initial velocity, that is 0, that is equal to half into acceleration into t square. Now at present we have the acceleration, that is equal to 30 meter per second square, times by the t square is 2 square. So it is equal to 30 into 2, that is also 60 meter. So h is equal to 60 meter. If we substitute in this equation, that h max equal to h plus 183.67 and h equal to its 60 plus 183.67, then finally we will be getting that it is 243.67 meter. That means the maximum height with respect to the ground of the rocket, that is equal to 243.67. In the third part, C, at what time after t equal to 0 will the maximum height be reached? Will the maximum height be reached? So here we are having t equal to 2 seconds. We have to find out that when it has reached to the maximum height, what is the time? So in that case, what we can do, we can compute that how much is the time taken to reach from this t equal to 2 seconds from this small height h to the maximum height. And for that we know that final velocity, that is v prime, it is equal to 0, initial velocity, that is vf, and the acceleration, that is same as that negative g into time t. So t equal to final velocity, that would be 0, vf equal to 60 meter per second, negative 9.8 times by t. So t equal to 60 divided by 9.8, that would be giving 6.12 seconds. So that's the time taken from this height h to the maximum height, and they are asking at what time after t equal to 0 will the maximum height be reached. That means with respect to the time t equal to 0, the total time it would be 6.12 plus up to h height it took 2 seconds to reach, that means plus 2, that would be giving the total time. It is 8.12 seconds.